Go ahead.
So we took a couple trucks, 10 police motorcycles, a couple ambulances, and they all went to the wedding.
So you took a lot of people from
Yes,
Landsberg
from Landsberg to the wedding.
to the wedding, and the wedding was in the
Oberamingen, a village.
in someone's house.
And no, they rented a restaurant. A restaurant or a hall, there was a hall. And the wedding, they took, the girls cooked the fish and the meat and everything, and they brought everything there, and we made a wedding.
So how many people were at this?
I would say about 100. A couple of American soldiers was there.
And did people crash the wedding from Landsberg? People who you didn't invite, or just only came?
Only those invited.
Okay. So once you were married, she moved in with you.
Yes.
Okay. The celebration happened at the restaurant. Did you have a baby when you were?
No,
No babies.
of course not.
It's getting a little hot. If you'd like to open the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
The baby was born much later.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yes.
Were there a lot of weddings in Landsberg?
Yes.
Did you attend other people's weddings?
Yes.
What were they like?
It wasn't a fancy wedding, like got together 50 people, 100 people, small wedding, bigger weddings, all kind of weddings, outside weddings, inside weddings.
If someone was getting married, did everybody just go?
No,
Or was it always invitation only?
not, we didn't send invitation to nobody, just mouth invitation. We invite them personally.
Okay, but did some people crash weddings?
I don't think so.
Okay. And other people have told me that people used to come to weddings even if they weren't invited. That wasn't true in Landsberg?
I didn't know about that.
Okay. But why do you think were weddings a big cause for celebration?
Yes,
Why was that?
because I was alone and she was alone.
Why else?
And to start a new family, like I mentioned here.
Is the same true for other people? Is the same true for...
The same for all the people, yes.
Was it rebuilding lives?
Yes, absolutely.
Did everybody know that?
I assume so.
I don't want to put those words in your mouth, you know. How did people get work in the camp? Work inside, I'm not finished with another area. How quickly, the social life, how did people hook up with each other besides your group of friends? Or did people hook up quickly with each other?
We lived
Couples.
We were in a house. Our neighbors, we were very close with all our neighbors. And we go to the kitchen 3 times a day, so we met people.
Would you say couples got together fairly quickly?
Very quickly.
Marriages happened very quickly?
Very quickly.
Were there a lot of babies in Landsberg?
Not in the beginning, if they're here, yes.
I hope so. It takes 9
Yes,
months.
yes.
So people were eager to get together.
Yes.
Okay. Now, was there a social life? Did people go into the town? What was in the town of Landsberg?
Nothing.
So most of the social life
It
happened
was in the camp.
in the camp. What did people do for work?
Mostly people didn't work. Police was 120 people. The ladies went to the Fachschule to learn how to sew.
Ort?
They call it, Hebrew name was, what was the name? It was called a Hebrew name. I know one of my friends went, and she's now professional. She knows how to sew and everything. They learned this in Landsberg
Training programs.
training program.
So people went to school, training programs.
Yes.
The children went to school?
No, there were no school. No school. There were no, the children, tiny children.
Okay. But who else worked beside the police? Did people, were there eventually stores in Landsberg? Did people open up shops in Landsberg?
They have shops illegally.
Why was it illegal?
It wasn't allowed.
But
It
you
wasn't-
were in charge.
Yes, so we tried to control as much as we can, but we couldn't control.
Why would
Like for
it,
instance, there was a butcher, he sold meat in the basement. There are other people who used to make saccharin, you know, was illegal. So they made underground in the basement, we didn't know about this.
but who was it illegal from? The Americans, not from the Jews?
American.
Why did the Americans say that it was illegal?
They called this black market.
To have a
They-
butcher?
They sold cigarettes, and there was a lot of illegal activities.
But you were selling, in other words, it was illegal for the Jews in the camp to sell things to each other.
Yes. They didn't sell to outside, only to itself. So,
And that was illegal.
yes.
Would that-
Illegal was to have a business without authorization.
So how were you supposed to live? How did they want you to live?
People got food, they got 3 times a day food.
But if you only got food, did they think you would just hang around and do no work,
They got clothing, they got food,
but no money?
no money. We got money, police got money.
But 120 people out of 5,500,
No, I don't know what the people who learn how to sew got money or not, I really don't know. They called it sochnut. Sochnut.
so what you're saying is they expected you to hang out and do nothing for the rest of the people,
They did, 90% did nothing.
but they wanted to do something.
There was no work.
Okay. Did some people go out of the camp to try to get some work?
No, actually, they shouldn't go out of the camp.
They weren't supposed
They
to.
were supposed to go. No German should come into the camp and no workers should go out of the camp.
So any
We
business,
went out of the camp, but we shouldn't.
why'd you go out of the camp?
I want to go to the post office or something like this, you know what I mean?
Would they get mad if you went to the post office?
The American soldiers didn't want us to go out, okay? It was like a quarantine.
So even in 1949,
We were freed, but not freed exactly.
and were they worried for your security? Or they just wanted you to follow rules?
I guess to follow the rules.
So you weren't free.
Not exactly.
Did
Not
that,
exactly.
did that bother the people in the camps?
But there were speeches every day and people left for Israel, for Australia, for Canada, for the United States, you know what I mean? There was a movement. Everybody thought, I wouldn't be here next year, you know? Sometimes took years.
So there was like a double message.
Yes.
So you could go if you had a place to go, but if you stayed here, you were under our rules.
Yes.
Was that aggravating? Did people talk about this?
Not exactly. Don't forget, he was free. He could do inside everything you want.
Well,
But
except
he cannot do outside because the American police, the MP,
okay,
didn't like it. Didn't like the Jews. to be outsiders in this.
So let's say an MP found the butcher doing business. What would he do?
We didn't let them in. The police didn't let them in.
Okay, so he never caught him.
No.
If you
They have
knew,
no right to come in the inside.
so, so a lot of stores probably,
Not stores really,
not stores, but
basements.
basements, businesses.
Take for instance for the wedding, we need meat. So the girls bought illegal meat from a kosher butcher
That was in Landsberg.
in the camp.
How'd he get it?
They smuggled in during the night a cow, and I sure had killed the cow and they had meat.
So a lot of smuggling was going, okay,
Not a lot, but
a little bit.
small.
Now, I read somewhere there were a lot of businesses, and this might be where, businesses in Landsberg, that it was like a little town.
Not a lot of business.
Not a lot, but any businesses that I read about were really in the basement.
Not open business.
Okay, so someone said to me, if they wanted clothes, they would go to Landsberg. What did that mean? One of the survivors I interviewed the other day,
There was a place where they have old clothes, and where they gave clothes away for nothing.
so that,
People stay in the line, and they came in and they picked up whatever they want.
okay, so it wasn't a store.
No, this belongs to the to the organization, to the Landsberg. There was a guy in charge of it for Pflegung camp. There was a guy for the food. There was a committee from a lot of leaders. There was a president, Dr. Olis, no, was a president. He also was a judge about the courts. We have courts too.
Okay.
We caught guys who did terrible things, Jewish guy, we put them in jail.
Okay, was there Jewish services, holiday services?
Yes, yes,
So was there a
shul.
synagogue
yes.
and
Big rooms, big rooms.
big rooms and,
The Aguda from the United States, they were the first one to send them religious things. I got my first film from them too.
and you had prayer books? Prayer books, Torah, and a prayer book?
Yes, yes, yes.
Did it, only people from Landsberg attend the services?
Yes, only in the camp, yes,
And you had a rabbi?
yes. We have a rabbi by a wedding, Hungarian rabbi, and a shamus.
And you had a chuppah at the wedding? That was in, but that was already in the restaurant.
Yes, we have a chuppah.
Okay. Was there a big Zionist presence in the camp?
Yes,
Were they pressuring people to go to Israel?
yes. The Israeli army, there was an Israeli army under the English commander. The whole group came to Landsberg, maybe 20,000 of them, 10,000 of them. And we opened the gate and they went back to front.
How long did they stay?
Couple hours.
So they were only there a couple hours?
Yes.
So how much pressure could they, what did they try to do?
Nothing, just show us. And the fact is, some people recognize each other. There was 5,500 people.
Now, outside of their showing up once, was there an active organization for the entire time you were there that worked on people to go to Israel?
Yes, the Israeli generals came, Ben Gurion came, Hai Levi came, Zerubbabel came.
But that's one visit here and there. I mean,
Yeah,
every,
but they all spoke about to go to Israel and so on and so on.
did people respond?
Yes,
Some, or all?
most of them. I would say from the 5,500 people original, 60% went to Israel.
Were they smuggled to Israel?
They went on Aliyah Bay A and Aliyah Bay, yes.
Aliyah A and Aliyah B.
Yeah.
Tell me what Aliyah A is first.
They rented ships illegally, and they put them on the ships, and the English army intercept them. They put them in the camps.
They brought him back to Landsberg.
No, they put them in the camps in Cyprus. They
And
didn't bring them back.
they didn't bring him back. So, excuse me, Aliyah A and Aliyah B.
Yeah.
You would like a drink or something?
Some water would be great.
Yeah,
What
come.
money? Yes.
And you know some of the people that left
gonna give
and
you
Of course,
juice.
I know.
water.
Water.
I knew a lot of the people.
So what happened to, so that's 60% of the camp? And that happened,
Mostly went to the Israel.
that was what year? Tell me about first,
46, 47, 48, and 49.
okay, tell me about 46 first. How did they get out of the camp?
The fact is, I was already on a truck to Munich to go to Israel, and I changed my mind. I came back.
Were you part of the group?
Yes,
So what happened to you?
I changed my mind because I met my wife.
Okay, so what happened to the first group that left?
They went to Israel. I don't know how many went through and how many did not went through, but I know they because Aliyah Bet A and Aliyah B. I know about this.
Tell me what you know about
Eli,
it.
you wanna drink something?
They, the English army intercept them, and they put them on Cyprus in the camps.
And how long did they stay?
That's, I don't know.
Okay, but that was how many people do you think
The camps was thousands of people.
that left?
No, thousand who they put in the Cyprus camps.
But how many left Landsberg out of the 5,500?
But a lot of people came from different, they liquidated camps slowly by slowly, so they came to Landsberg. When I left, new people came in.
Okay. So, now I'll ask you the question this way. Prior to anybody coming to the camp to try to influence anybody about where to go, did the people in the camps want to go to Israel?
Yes.
So they weren't influenced. They already knew they wanted to go.
Yeah, but it helped. The generals came and they spoke to them, this and that.
No, what I'm asking you to do is separate
Yeah,
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you want to go to Israel before a general came?
Not exactly.
So the general influenced you. But for other people,
Ben Gurion was their influence.
but,
Zerubbabel, big guy, white beard.
well, he didn't, you came back.
I came back because I have a reason.
The question I'm really asking you is, people who had their heart, were there people in the camp who had their hearts set on Israel before anybody came?
I would say yes, because nobody wants to stay in Landsberg in the camp. Nobody wants. Everybody wants to get out.
In 1945, was there any place for anybody really to go to?
1945. You have to have a visa to come to the American.
Right, but was there any place for anybody to go to? If you didn't have family in the United States,
Well, Canada and Australia.
that's it.
Yeah,
So where did most people want to go?
to the United States and Israel. Israel first, the United States second.
So before any, I'm trying to figure out if the Zionists influenced them or they already wanted to go.
The fact is nobody wants to stay in the camps. They want to get out.
Right.
Where they have the best chance? Probably Israel.
Okay. So we don't know how many of the people who ended up in Cyprus ever ended up in Israel. So
They went in for Israel for good later. They went back to Israel.
Okay, now let's go back to, when you came to this country, cause I'm gonna go back to the camp, but were the friends you had in this country friends from your hometown? Any friends?
Yes.
Who are some of the names?
Not only from my, it was together with me in camp.
Well, I'm gonna go,
And they came
I'm
here.
gonna go through.
They came here before I came, so I came here, they visit me.
Well, here's how it's divided. Friends from home, friends from camp, friends from let's start with the DP camp. Did you stay friendly with anybody in the United States that you knew from Landsberg?
Yes, very friendly, very
Tell me
close.
the names.
Max Frost, we were together in camp, we worked together. Raymond Drillings and his brother, Isaac Oyvind Drillings. There were a few more, they died and I already forgot their name.
If you see them in the pictures, you'll tell
You
me.
have Max Frost.
And who else? Who else might you have been policemen with?
I met quite a few more, but I forgot their names already, they're not here anymore.
Okay, and who from before the war and who from home?
From home is Max Frost and the two brother Drillings.
And if I were to look at, you have two sons, bar mitzvah albums,
Yeah,
and I were to look at tables, would I be looking at survivors?
Max Frost was an old centers, yes.
But tables of survivors, would I see tables of survivors?
Yes, yes.
When you came to this country, did you, in addition to staying friends with survivors from the camps, did you make new friends which were survivors?
A lot, a lot.
We'll
I
get,
just give you an example. I like the mountains, and we bought a place. I was the president for 27 family, 90% survivors.
what was the name of the place?
I mentioned the name. I gave it the name Garden Cottages,
And where was it?
Monticello. So I was managing this place for 27 years.
And what was, what year did you start?
I finished 4 years ago, so it take 27 years before this.
Okay.
I don't remember the beginning, but 4 years we sold the place because I got sick. I couldn't manage anymore, so we sold the place. So we had touched, there's 27 families, was like one family. We in touched, we go to the weddings, we go to simchas, we in touch, we call them now, even right now.
Okay, we're gonna go back to, in terms of the camp, do you remember Chayas being in the camp? Chayas, or UNRWA, or the Joint?
Yes.
What role did Chayas or UNRWA?
Hayas,
Chayas.
no, the joint,
They were in the camp?
not Hayas. Joint and UNRWA,
Okay, you remember them?
of course.
What role did they
I
play?
tell you a joke about UNRWA.
What?
On Jewish they say UNRWA means Urim, Noid, Rachmunis, Ratevidachalain.
And what does that mean?
Urim and Pur,
Okay.
Hange, help yourself, something like this.
And explain it to me, like I don't know.
UNRWA, Urim, Noid means Noid if needy. Rachmunis mean Rachmunis mean,
Feel sorry.
I call Rachmunis of English. If you feel sorry for a guy, how you call it? Rachmunis. Raten we de galijn. Help yourself.
So what are you trying to say?
They made a joke of UNRWA. UNRWA wasn't a big help.
Okay. And
That joint was much better.
Ort,
Ort?
they came
Yeah.
in to train.
Ort, yes,
They came in to train.
yes.
Okay. Now, when people had babies in the camp, was it a big a celebration?
Celebration, yes, yes.
What do you remember if there was a special feeling around children being born?
Yes. It was
What-
a special feeling.
What was the feeling?
Take for instance, when a child was born, then we have the bris, we invited all our friends, and we celebrated.
Why the children were important? Why was it the children were important?
Because we lost so many of them. So each child was like a gift from God. Very proud of our children.
You tried to go to Palestine.
This-
Where were you?
This guy was born in Landsberg.
Yeah, you had a child born in Landsberg?
This one,
Oh,
first one.
Abraham.
where were you when Israel became a state?
In 1948 in Germany,
You were in Landsberg.
in Landsberg.
Do you have a specific memory
We
of
watched-
where you were when Israel became a state, and what were your feelings?
We was watching a movie how the state of Israel is established, and we were listening to each nation approve or disapprove. And we were in a movie. I watched this.
And what happened?
Big celebration.
What were your feelings? When the,
Feel great.
but when you heard that it was.
Big celebration, the camp. Big celebration. Everybody was singing, dancing.
But do you remember which state it was that put it over the top? Do you remember what?
Yes, Russia. Russia, number
And when
one.
they said Russia, did you just go crazy?
Yeah.
So what does it mean to have a state?
To be independent, to have somebody to protect us, and like I said, to be independent, to be somebody.
And to know Israel is there now, what does it mean to you?
A lot. Awful a lot. I worked a lot. I raised 3 ambulances for Israel.
Do you
I have
worry about
pictures-
Israel?
I have pictures. Lately I worry a lot, especially last week. What happened?
When did you decide to come to America? And how? What were the circumstances under which you made provisions to come?
I have an uncle in the United States, and he sent me a certificate. And that's why we came here in 1949.
You didn't try for 4 years, or you did try?
If you couldn't get a certificate,
It took a long time?
it took a long time.
Okay, so he sent you, you got on a boat,
Yes, and I came to New York.
you went to Bremerhaven?
Bremenhaven, yes.
Bremerhaven. How long did it take you to come across?
13 days.
And how much money did you come to this country with?
$220.
And you land in the United States, and who greets you?
Terrible greeting. Terrible.
What happened?
Nobody greeted us.
Your uncle wasn't there?
Nobody was there.
So where did you go?
The guy from Hayas was there, a guy. And he said, you have some money? You have to pay for the taxi. And I went to the highest,
Do you remember where the highest was?
425 Lafayette Avenue.
Okay. You got a room?
I got a tiny room, me, my wife, and my baby. But every week, the third day I went to work. The third day.
Yeah.
I took the elevator, the train took me an hour to go there to Tremont Avenue. And I worked by my cousin, baby carriages. But the highest wasn't good for us. There was the main guy in highest. His wife was wonderful. And he was the manager in the kitchen. You know what he called us? Communists.
He called you a communist?
Communists.
Why?
He was anti-us. Take for instance, when there was some soup left, he asked, we have some soup left, who wants left? Not the communists. I was very depressed, I almost beat him up.
You fought?
She was very good, but he was terrible. A man, he was the manager in the kitchen.
Did he stop hassling you?
But I was there maybe 3-4 weeks, and thank God I left.
Okay, so where'd you go next?
I rented, 2 families rented an apartment on Livingston Street.
Rivingston?
Livingston Street,
Okay,
that's on the east side.
okay.
Didn't work out. Then I rented a new apartment on Village Street. The two-bedroom apartment, 2 families. $50 didn't work out. Then I rented a apartment for myself, bless you, for $18.
Bring you some more. Take some grapes.
$18. My landsman used to live in this apartment. So since we came out, he gave up his apartment to us. And he went to a different apartment. He's from my city.
How long have you lived here?
Here? 14 and a half years.
Okay, but where did you live the bulk of your life?
We have a house in Bogart Avenue in the Bronx. 44 years.
44 years. Now, what kind of work were you doing? And how'd you get the work?
My first job was by my cousins. I worked for baby carriages. The second job was Parker Hardware and hardware store. The third job, Vice Hardware store on Bowery Street, 69 Bowery Street.
Now, who helped you get these jobs?
Myself,
No, your cousin didn't help you.
no.
Okay.
So during the lunchtime, I worked for Vice Hardware store. I see no future, so I went to an agency looking for a job, and they gave me a job. And I was mechanical inclined, and I worked for a job for 16 years. E.W. Brummeyer Laboratories, electronic metal detectors. And I became the foreman in the shop. I worked there for 16 years. The first week he gave me right away a raise, the boss. He was a non-Jewish boss, but nice fellow. He was a playboy. He bought a plane, he bought luxury cars, and he flew to California. On the way back he crashed, he got killed.
Well,
So I got a lot of friends in the congregation, which I was president for 16 years. So
now, those friends,
Yes,
were they American friends or survivors?
both. Both. I'll show you pictures. I have hundreds of friends, thousands. They all knew me, 5 of them. Yes. I bought a laundromat in Manhattan, service and self-service. excellent business, very good business. I stayed there maybe 5, 6 years, hard business. Then a guy, Indian guy came, he bought the business. I said to my wife, let me retire, I got enough. I saw an article in the forwards. They were looking for mechanical incline. So I went, I met a guy, an older person. His name was Weingarten. He needs a partner. I took him as partnership, I put in very little money. I call Astor Refrigeration. When you go to a restaurant and you ask for egg sandwich, a tuna sandwich, I made the units, the coolers. So I went in and I improved the business. Every year since I went in, up and up and up, it was wholesale only. And I worked there till I became 65. A year before 65, two guys, Jewish guys came in, they want to buy the business. They saw this is a very good business. And I tell them, when I be 65, come in. They came in, I sold them the business in half an hour. And the business still exists. But I improved, I made it well improved and everything.
So you work by yourself.
I work by myself.
Now let me go back to some questions. You said you went to the Catskills with 27 families. These 27 families were all survivors?
No, 80%.
And were they from your neighborhood or were they from your past?
They were mostly from my old neighborhood and from the synagogue.
Any from the Jewish DP camp?
Most of them.
So would you say that you stayed friends
We're still friends.
with people from the Jewish DP camp?
Yes.
Would you say that between you and your wife's 5 friends, and your 4 friends, we don't know all their names, are your closest friends?
Very close, the closest.
The closest.
I talk with them almost every day.
You said to me earlier that you were depressed because you lost your family.
Yes.
Would these people have been, nobody can replace your family of origin, but did these people become your new family?
Yes.
In your own words, tell me what that means.
When they have a wedding, we are invited. When they have a bar mitzvah, we are invited.
Is your survivor family critical to the last 65 years of your life?
I'm incredible.
Would you have had
They
the
help.
life you have
Yes.
without having a survivor family?
I don't think so. They are very close, like family. Like family. Really good friends.
Who are,
Exactly like family.
okay.
Before the telephone, Eli, was Kasia, friend from long.
So then they're the most,
Go inside, go in the other room. Yes.
in the, did you, besides the summer, did you go to either events or societies on a regular basis with survivors? There's like a New Year's Eve party with a Ledger Society or anything like that?
Yes, the 22nd of this month, we have a survivors.
Let me wait 1 second.